All right, how about another 2019 college football team season preview and prediction video today? How about two more today? Yep, going to do two more today. The first one, this one, will be uploaded around lunchtime, and then I'm going to upload a second preview and prediction video today, probably around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. Up first, this comes as a suggestion from Andrew T. over on the UNCLELOU Patreon page. I hope you enjoyed this video, Andrew. Thank you for the support. The Utah Utes. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. So thanks for watching. You know I appreciate it also, and in addition to that as well. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year. Some of them are watchable. All of them are entertaining. You can decide which category this falls into, if it even falls into either one. I don't know. Like I said, Andrew T. suggested this video. Every Patreon member has been suggesting these videos that I've been doing for these preview and prediction videos. And Andrew, it's your turn today with the Utah Utes. I really appreciate you supporting the channel over on the Patreon page, sir. It really means the world to me. If any of you guys watching would like to directly support the channel by joining the Patreon page, there's a link in the description of this video that says support the channel. It will take you over there. You get some perks and benefits and things like that from signing up over there. Click the link, check it out. If you decide you want to join, I would appreciate it. All right, here we go. Utah Utes. Do it the same way we always do. Wrap up 2018. Talk about who they lost, who's coming back. Then I'll put the schedule up on the screen for 2019, and we're going to go through it game by game and try to find a winner and a loser for all 12 games during the regular season for Utah. All right, how'd they do last year? 9-3, right? 6-3 in the Pac-12. They finished 9-5 after dropping their last two games, but that was the Pac-12 championship game, and then a bowl game, the Holiday Bowl, I think it was, to Northwestern. So regular season 9-3, and of course won the Pac-12 South, losing to Washington, I believe it was, in that Pac-12 championship game, lost to Northwestern in the Holiday Bowl. Their three losses during the regular season. Lost to Washington by 14, lost to Arizona State by 18, lost to Washington State by 4. Of course, Washington and Washington State, pretty good teams. Arizona State, that's sort of the head-scratching loss from last year, right? I harp on this all the time, but almost every single team in college football loses at least one game a year that you don't really expect them to lose. And for Utah last year, I think it was this Arizona State game. He had some big wins too, though, right? Beat Stanford, beat Southern Cal, who, to be fair, had a down year. Still at Southern Cal, division rival for you. And you beat Oregon, another pretty good team out of the north there. So 9-3, 9-5 overall. All right, head coach Kyle Whittingham, right? Been there for a while. Great defense and run the ball. That's what you're going to get from Kyle Whittingham. Him and David Shaw are probably two of my favorite coaches in the Pac-12. Not best coaches, two of my favorite coaches in the Pac-12. I like the style of football that Whittingham and Shaw usually put out on the field for us to see. Great defense and run the ball at Utah. How'd that work out last year? Number 1 rush defense in the Pac-12. Number 2 scoring defense in the Pac-12. Number 2 total defense in the Pac-12. Number 3 pass defense in the Pac-12. When you're top 3 in all those categories, you're likely to win your division. That's what Utah did. Offensively, not as good offensively last year as they were defensively, but the number 3 run game. So again, great defense, run the ball. The 3rd ranked run game in the Pac-12, 6th in scoring. So about middle of the road in scoring, but a run heavy team, right? Offense returns almost every single person that touched the ball last year for Utah, with just a few exceptions. But almost all of their key playmakers at the skill positions return. Quarterback Tyler Hundley, now he missed the last 5 games last year with a collarbone. And of course, they lost 2 of those last 5 games, being the Pac-12 championship game and the Holiday Bowl. I'm not here to tell you they would have won those games with Tyler Huntley, but he was starting for a reason. So maybe you give him a chance in those 2 games with him. But in any case, collarbone, he's healed now. He's fine. He'll be back. This is an athletic type quarterback that can run around. I mean, don't let that fool you. I mean, the guy can throw the ball. And I guess he's technically classified as a dual threat quarterback. I don't know. To me, he's more of a mobile quarterback. And yes, there is a difference in my mind. But he's athletic. He can run a lot of rollout type passing, designed rollout type passing plays where he sort of has an option to tuck the ball and run or chunk the ball downfield if he sees a guy open. Very hard to defend defensively if you have a guy that can run it the right way, and Utah does. Running back Zach Moss, 1,000 yards last year. That's impressive. 1,096 yards. It's even more impressive when you consider the fact that he also missed the last 5 games last year with a knee injury. So again, I'm not saying that had he played, they would have won the Pac-12 or the Holiday Bowl. We'll never know. But you're looking at a team here, Utah, who went 9-3, won the Pac-12 South without their starting quarterback and starting running back for basically the last third of the season, missing the last 5 games there. So both those guys return. That's great news. And you got some talent behind Zach Moss, too. He's the best. He's sort of a bruiser between the tackles type runner. You got some talent behind him, too. And according to most of the preseason publications like Lindy's and Athlon's and these people that rank like the position units within each conference, most of them have Utah as the #1 running back group in the Pac-12. So for a coach that wants to play good defense and run the ball, you're set up very well at the running back position to do that. Wide receiver, you get this Britton Covey back. He had 60 catches last year. That's nothing to sneeze at, right? You got 2 good sophomore tight ends that have great hands. Again, a run-first team, but you've got some weapons with the receivers and the tight ends that can make plays for you on third down and when you need to. Offensive line, you got some holes to fill there. Your offensive line is in the upper half of the Pac-12, but you know, compared to a team like, say, Oregon, who has one of the best offensive lines in all of football, you don't live up to that. But you've got a pretty good offensive line, but you do need to find some pieces to sort of plug in that you're missing from last year. Over on the defensive side of the ball, defensive line, again, these preseason publications, #1 defensive line in the Pac-12 at Utah. I mean, this is Utah is not a fluke. Utah is not a gimmick. Utah is a legit good team, not just a good team. Utah didn't just have a good year. Utah is a good program right now. You're talking about a team, like I mentioned, with the #1 running back group in the Pac-12, #1 defensive line group in the Pac-12, won the division last year. Anyway, defensive line, Fotu and Ane, they chose to return. Both of those guys could have gone to the NFL, right? This is the interior of your defensive line, your 2 starting defensive tackles last year. They could have gone to the NFL. They both chose to return. That's a big reason why most people think you've got the best defensive line heading into 2019. Linebacker, you got some question marks, though. You lost the best linebacker tandem probably in school history last year. You bring in a couple of grad transfers, Bowen from Penn State. Mentioned this yesterday when I did the Penn State video. Penn State lost like 11 players to transfer. Most of them were buried on the depth chart. Bowen is one of those guys. So I'm not saying he's bad or he's not any good, but it's not like you're getting one of Penn State's elite players. That's why you got him. He wasn't going to play Penn State, so he transfers out. So you need some help at the linebacker position. We'll see. Defensive back, you lose both your safeties. Got to find a way to replace those. So what'd you do? Well, you moved Blackman, who was a cornerback last year. You moved him over to safety. Now, your other cornerback, Johnson, he's probably an NFL corner. I'm not sure if I would put him in the top tier of corners in college football, but maybe the tier underneath that. I don't think he'll be a first-round draft pick, but I think he's got NFL talent and NFL potential. So you're good on that side of the field, but you got to find some help, like we mentioned, at the safety position, and now at that other corner position since you've moved Blackman to safety. All right, let's put the schedule up on the screen. We'll run through it game by game, and we'll try to see if Utah can repeat as Pac-12 South Division champs. Week 1, on the road, BYU, win. BYU is an embarrassment of a program. It's got nothing to do with their football team. I've talked about this enough. I really don't want to talk about it that much more because I don't really think that BYU deserves any airtime on LouTube, to be honest. So that's it. You beat BYU. Even though it's there, no one cares. Don't convert while you're there. Those people are crazy. They will try to convert you. Resist the temptation. Northern Illinois at home and Idaho State at home. 2 more non-con games. You will win both of those. Those are lower classification schools that don't have any business competing really with any Power 5 team, much less one like Utah. You're 3-0. On the road at Southern Cal. This is a tough one. You beat them last year at home, you got to play them there this year. I'm no Clay Helton fan. I think this guy's in over his head, him and Willie Taggart for that matter. I don't understand how either one of these guys got the job they have. Southern Cal fell flat on their face last year, 5-7. I think they did win 9 or 10 games the year before that. But listen, Southern Cal, year in and year out, is the most talented team in the Pac-12. Maybe there's a year here and there where they're second or third. No one recruits at the level that Southern Cal does year in and year out. Again, yes, a team can have a better recruiting class, for a year here or there. But in general, Southern Cal gets a lot of talent, and to go 5-7 is just unexplainable. I find it hard to believe that Southern Cal can be as bad again this year as they were last year, even though I don't think Clay Helton is a good fit there. I just think there's too much talent for a team like Southern Cal to have multiple seasons in a row where they can't even make a bowl game. So I do think they'll be better. But I went ahead and gave you the win there. If Southern Cal is better, this could be like, winner wins the division type of thing. So even though Southern Cal is kind of down, this is a big game within the Pac-12. You got to play them there. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here and give you a win, but that is a tricky game on the road. You're 4-0. All right, then Washington State, another tricky game. They were really good last year, almost won the Pac-12 North before losing to Washington at the end of the season. They lose that quarterback Minshew, who set all kinds of records at Washington State. They bring in a transfer from Eastern Washington, lower classification type school. Now, you put up huge numbers there. We'll see how that translates to the Power 5. But again, you get them at home. I don't think Washington State can be as good this year as they were last year. I don't think you're going to replace Minshew right off the jump. You have to imagine they take a little bit of a step back. You lost to them by 4 last year. I think you turn that around. You got to try to limit their scoring, though. You don't want to get in a shootout with Washington State. Again, you're a running team. Again, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on these 2 weeks in a row here at USC and in home against Washington State. I'm giving you the win in both. That puts you at 5-0. Let's just be realistic. Most people would probably have you losing one of those 2 games, either Southern Cal or Washington State. I wouldn't be shocked if you did lose one of them. But I've got you at 5-0. I'm rethinking this now, even in my head as I'm doing this video. But I'm going to stick with my gut when I did the research this morning and put you at 5-0. That takes you into your first bye week. You come out of that, you play on the road at Oregon State, not only one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 year in and year out, but one of the worst teams in all the Power 5, them, Rutgers, Tennessee. Throw those 3 teams in a hat, pull one out. They're all the same with different helmets on. Not any good. You'll get a win. Arizona State at home, win. Again, Arizona State, another team, I think, what are they going to win? 7 or 8 games probably, right? They're not going to be terrible. They're going to beat somebody they're not supposed to. They're going to lose a game where you scratch your head. That's just what Arizona State is. Year 2 and a new coaching staff there. I think you get the win. You're rolling right along. Cal, I think you get the win against Cal. Cal's like the Illinois of the Pac-12. I mean, people forget they even have a team. It's, again, I'm not knocking Cal. They just kind of are what they are. You get a win. What are you, 8-0? Ridiculous. On the road at Washington. That's where bad news starts. I'm high on Washington this year. I don't think you're beating them there. The news doesn't get much better. I have a feeling you'll probably lose to Washington twice this year. Don't worry. I've been wrong before. But you're losing this one, regular season, on the road at Washington. That's your first loss. Get a week to rebound, second bye week. You host UCLA. UCLA, another team like Southern Cal, who won't be as bad this year as they were last year. I just don't think Chip Kelly can turn it around enough, even in 2 years. I think he needs probably another 2 years to really get UCLA to where he wants to have them. Will UCLA win more games this year than they did last year? Probably, but they're not good enough to beat you. You rebound after that loss in a bye week, and you get you another win at home against UCLA. On the road at Arizona, sorry, loss. This is the one I think you lose that you're not supposed to. Again, this is nothing against Utah. Almost every single team does this. Listen, I'm getting knocked in a lot of these videos for picking teams to lose games against teams that they're obviously better than. And I understand why, but like I said, almost every team every single year loses at least one game you don't expect them to lose. Like looking at Utah, okay, I've got you beating Colorado, okay? So that puts you at 10-2. It's real easy to look at this schedule and go, this looks like a 10-2 schedule. That's easy. The hard part is finding the 2 losses. So Obviously, I could be wrong about this loss at Arizona, but like I mentioned earlier in the schedule here, at Southern Cal, home against Washington State, no one would be shocked if you lost one of those two. So if you want to act like a potato and tell me I'm stupid for saying they're going to lose at Arizona, fine, give them a win, but then that just means you're going to lose to Southern Cal or Washington State. I'm confident in the 10-2 record here for Utah. Obviously, I'm not as confident on the games that they'll win and lose, particularly this Arizona game. So cry about it in the comment section. I don't know what else to tell you. 10-2, probably good enough to win the South again, and probably good enough to have another rematch with Washington in the Pac-12 title game. My money would be on Washington in that matchup if that's the case. But nevertheless, 10-2, 7-2 in the Pac-12, another successful season for Kyle Whittingham and Utah. Appreciate you guys watching, and have a great morning.